Hello, coaches. It's Melissa here, and today we're going to review exam prep question number 318. You're working with a client navigating a difficult divorce and recent job loss. In today's session, they appear withdrawn more than usual. When discussing goals you had set at last time, they say quietly, "Honestly, it doesn't really matter anymore. None of this does." When you gently ask what they mean, they add, "I've been having thoughts I haven't told anyone about, but I don't want to freak you out." Their voice is flat and they avoid eye contact on the video call. What's the best course of action? Option A, empathize with their situation and validate how hard things must feel right now. Then steer the session gently back to a hopeful goal or next step. B, thank them for opening up and immediately pause proceeding with coaching and refer them to a crisis line or therapist. C, let the client continue talking and see if they clarify the nature of their thoughts without interrupting or asking direct questions. D, ask if they've had thoughts of ending their life or made any plans, and explain that you're concerned and want to ensure they're safe. Or E, validate the stress of their situation without bringing up suicide unless they mention it directly. Okay, so when we look at the competencies involved, there's a number of different things we want to be attuned to here. First is active listening and presence. The coach is noticing both what's being said, what body language is showing, and being attuned to that and being responsive. We also want to think about stress, emotional wellness, and scope of practice. So coaches are expected to recognize situations and take appropriate action to protect client safety without managing or treating. The coach also wants to be able to refer the client to other healthcare professionals when it's appropriate or when it's necessary. Another helpful resource comes from the International Coaching Federation, and it is a resource where there's a one-page visual as well as a full guide on when and how to refer clients to therapy or other helping professionals. And there's some things that are helpful to notice of what are some of the signs and symptoms that someone may need something more than coaching, but also how do you act in emergency situations? And that includes directly asking somebody what they're meaning, directly asking if they're thinking about harming themselves, asking if they might have the means to do it, and taking appropriate action. So when we look back at our response options, option A was empathizing with their situation and validating how hard things must feel and steering the session gently back to a hopeful goal or next step. So while empathy is important, ignoring red flags and redirecting towards coaching goals could be really dangerous. This avoids that deeper concern that the client could be showing, and it risks just normalizing or minimizing the client's distress. And it could even delay that opportunity to get immediate client safety. In option B, thank them for opening up and immediately pause proceeding with the coaching and refer them to a crisis line or therapist. This response assumes imminent risk without clarification. There's a chance it could lead to an abrupt action without understanding the nature of the severity or of the client's distress. So while a referral is likely needed, the coach should probably first ask a safety question to assess whether urgent referral is necessary here. So prematurely pausing the session without this might also even feel dismissive or escalate the client's distress. In option C, let the client continue talking and see if they clarify the nature of their thoughts without interruption or without asking direct questions. This places the burden on the client for more clarification, and it could result in missing that crucial window to intervene in a helpful way for client safety. So the clients in distress, it might hint rather than disclose directly, and a skilled coach should also take the initiative to clarify when safety is in question here. Option D, ask if they've had thoughts of ending their life or made any plans, and explain you're concerned and want to ensure they're safe. The client has given multiple verbal and nonverbal cues that do raise concern about possible suicide ideation. Some of the statements, honestly, it doesn't matter anymore. Thoughts I haven't told anyone about, their flat tone, their avoidance of eye contact. These are all potential red flags. And as a coach, we want to be ethically responsible to act in the client's best interest and ensure safety. So asking clear, calm, and direct questions about suicide risk is within our scope, and especially when we see and hear concerning language and behavior from the client. This option does not involve diagnosing or treating, but instead it really serves as a safety screening to determine how you need to be responsive, if it's a referral or if immediate emergency action is needed. Option E, validating the stress of their situation without bringing up suicide unless they mention it directly. So this assumes the coach should wait for an explicit mention of suicide, which may not occur. So silence around suicide also can increase the stigma, and it's more responsible to act than to avoid asking here. So option D is the best option because it balances compassion and safety, and it's within our ethical scope for a coach to act when safety of the client is in question. A couple of things to think about is that many coaches might hesitate to ask directly about suicide from fear of saying the wrong thing, discomfort with the word suicide itself, or uncertainty about what to do if the client says yes. And there's also maybe a common myth that asking about suicide could make things worse, when in fact, a lot of research shows that directly asking can reduce stress and distress. Some coaches might also worry about stepping outside our scope of practice, not realizing and recognizing that red flags and referring is absolutely appropriate and part of our ethical duty. And so there's many things that can come just from personal discomfort, lack of training, that can make it hesitative and could hold us back. But I hope this question helps think through how do we act clearly, directly, and being responsive to when a client is showing us signs here. I hope this question was helpful, not only for your exam, but for your practice. If you're looking for more questions to get ready for your board exam, I have live study groups, virtual self-paced course that you can start and end at any time, and 4 timed practice tests to get ready for situational judgment, questions that are anchored in the core competencies. I have many resources. I'm going to pop the link below to my website. I'll also pop the link to my YouTube channel if you want early access to more questions just like this one. Thanks, everyone.